Hello everyone, Twins34, back again with another video. I'm going to be doing a video for the players that I've seen on Reddit and the forums that have come in and said, I'm new to baseball. How can you help me learn baseball? So I decided I'm going to kind of work on some videos whenever I see a question that comes up on the forums or on Discord, and try to help the new players kind of learn by video. This video is going to be about the Rule 5 draft, as the Rule 5 draft is a very interesting and awkward draft. Even to some veteran players of OOTP and even veteran baseball fans, they don't quite 100% understand the Rule 5 draft either. So let's kind of go through what the Rule 5 draft is, how it works, how people become eligible for it, and what happens after you have drafted someone into Rule 5. All right, let's switch over to OOTP. And one of the cool things that OOTP does is they do put out an email that kind of goes over what the Rule 5 draft is about. So let's kind of go through this email and kind of break it down to explain what they're saying in the email. So, Major League Baseball's Rule 5 draft will be held today. General managers should ensure that they have made all necessary roster moves prior to the start of the draft. Rule 5 draft rules. Only teams with empty slots on their expanded rosters can select a player in the draft. Okay, let's explain what they're talking about when it says expanded rosters. This should not say expanded rosters. It should say your 40-man roster. So if you go into rosters and transactions here, any player that is on your secondary 40-man roster, this right here, is protected from the Rule 5 draft. This is what they're talking about with expanded roster. It is your secondary 40-man. Let's head back to the email. Players with more than 4 years of professional service are eligible to be selected unless they are protected on a team's expanded roster. Professional service means they have been playing in the minors or the majors for 4 or more years. Expanded roster, once again, is the 40-man. Anybody that is on the 40-man roster is protected from Rule 5 draft. Players drafted at the age of 18 or younger are protected for an additional year. So players that are 18, 17, 16, they are protected for 5 professional years. Where anybody that is drafted at 19 or older are only protected for 4 professional years. All right, so this next one is something you really have to pay attention to. Each selected player must be kept on the selecting team's major league roster for the entire year, or be returned to the original team. What they are meaning by your major league roster is they must be a part of your active roster, your 26-man roster. So when this spring training off-season roster goes from 40 man down to 26, that player must be on your 26 man. And if you cannot keep them on your 26 man and you have to release them, they will go back to the team you drafted them from. Even if a selected player is subsequently traded, he must remain on the team's major league roster for the entire year. So, if the team that drafted him trades him to another team, that new team must now keep him on that 26 man roster for the entire year. If they remove him, he will go back to the team he was drafted from. Not traded from, but drafted from. And they do give a note down here. Eligible players are noted on the team's transaction screen with a hashtag or pound symbol. So, what do they mean by that? Let's go to the rosters and transaction screen. And you can see here that Nelson Sorez, Gary Davenport, Al Jones, Mike Knox, they are all Rule 5 eligible. Another way you can look at it is by selecting any of these, I guess, drop-down menus and selecting Rule 5 eligible players. This is going to give you a whole list of Rule 5 eligible players. So, say I want to protect this Bill Lasky. I will just take him up to my secondary 40-man roster, and drop him on there. And now he's no longer on the list of Rule 5 eligible players. He is now protected right here on my 40-man. So when they say to make sure you protect your players, you want to put them on the 40-man. Now also remember, if you're protecting 40 players, you will not be able to pick anybody in the Rule 5 draft. You have to have room on the 40-man to pick somebody. So if you have 39 players on your 40-man, you can pick one person, one player out of the Rule 5 draft. All right, so to look at the Rule 5 draft, here's the draft pool. This shows you all the players that are right now eligible in the Rule 5 draft. All right, so if you're playing standalone like this is right here, you would just go underneath Rule 5 Draft and hit Start Draft, and it will take you through just like if you were doing your amateur draft. Same thing, just not as many rounds. And at the bottom of the screen, you would have a button that says skip this pick. Now, if you were in an online league and your commissioner posts in whatever messaging program you use, please set your draft lists and export them. What they are talking about is this right here. Select up to 20 players by just taking them, drag them over. You can put them in whatever order you want. Doesn't really matter. I mean, you want to put that guy way down there, go ahead. You can adjust them however you want. But you need to set this. Make sure you have enough room on your 40 man. I really want to stress that because that's where a lot of people mess up, is that they don't have room on their 40 man roster. So if you're picking players, pick enough to where you might have a chance at getting somebody that you want, but don't go crazy. You have to remember, everybody that you pick is going to take a spot on your active roster, on your 26 man roster. If you don't have room for them, then they go back to the team you drafted them from. So make sure you only choose what you know you will have room or what you need. Like, say you need a backup left fielder or a backup third baseman. Just draft what you need instead of just, oh, look at all these good pitchers. I'm just going to take every single one of these pitchers. But then you get to needing to put them on your roster and you just don't have room for them. So make sure you have room on your 40 man. Make sure you're going to have room on your 26 man. Don't take more than what you need. And of course, when you're in an online league, make sure you export your team. Once you have your list done, make sure you check to make sure that your export has gone through, so that when the Rule 5's over, you haven't drafted anybody. You go, where's my picks? I had a whole bunch of guys I was trying to select. Well, maybe you didn't get your export through right. Maybe you by accident, hit download instead of export. Sometimes that happens. So always 100% check that your export has gone through. If you're on Stats Plus, there's a wonderful page there that will show you a nice green check mark if your export went through. Or offline, that you don't have to worry about, because when you're doing it, you're just going to pull players down. Like if you were doing your amateur draft, or you can hit the skip button. Oh, this is Atlanta, so I don't have the option for skip. So let's go until my pick. So right here, you see you have the skip this pick. If you're not going to pick in a Rule 5 draft, just hit that, and you will no longer get an attempt to pick. Once you hit this skip pick, you're skipping for the rest of the draft. So if I click on this again, oh, I guess it is actually going to give me the option. Normally, if you skip it, you're not going to get another draft pick. But it looks like that may have changed. And once you're done, it will show, what the draft log is, all the teams that drafted, the teams that they came from, and the player name. And that's pretty much it about the Rule 5. So once again, make sure you have room on your 40 man. Make sure you put players you want to protect on your 40 man. And make sure you don't overpick, because they must stay on your 26 man for the entire year. Once that year is over, that player has become yours and you can do whatever you want with them. If you want to put them down in your minors, you can put them down in your minors. If you want to keep them up in your majors, you can keep them up. But for that first year, they must stay and take up a spot on your 26 man. So make sure you pick a player you're going to be able to use. If you decide you're going to draft 6 pitchers from the draft, make sure you have room for 6 pitchers on your team. If you don't, they're just going to go right back to the team you took them from. So I can't stress any of that enough for this Rule 5 draft. But that's where I'm going to leave this video. If you have any questions, post below and I'll try to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Like and subscribe if you like what you see. Also, go out and check my other videos, as I have done videos on the development lab, on the development sliders. I know I need to get those updated because a lot of information has been found out about them since I did those videos earlier this year. Otherwise, that's it for me. So I want everybody to have a great day, and I will talk to you later.